Stubborn belly fat isn't just fat, it's a warning sign. If your belly fat just doesn't seem to go away no matter how clean you eat or how much you move, something deeper is going on. You see, belly fat is called visceral fat. It's the dangerous kind that wraps around your organs and creates inflammation, insulin resistance, and hormonal issues. The exact same internal chaos that leads to type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and even cancer. But here's the good news. You can turn this around faster and easier than you think. Today I'm going to show you a simple 5-step plan to melt away visceral fat in as little as 2 weeks. Now here's the thing. Deep visceral fat isn't something you can always see or pinch. You can look slim and still have it. It's what people mean when they say skinny fat. You might not see it, but you feel it through low energy, strong food cravings, rising blood sugar, and feeling constantly bloated. And the reason it's so dangerous is because visceral fat is an active hormonal tissue that talks to the rest of your body all day long. It sends out chemical signals that create a constant low-grade fire inside of you called chronic inflammation. And that's where this gets serious. Cancer cells love inflammation. It actually helps them grow and hide from your immune system. Now, the most important thing you need to know about getting rid of this dangerous visceral fat is that you have to lower your insulin levels. When your insulin levels are always high, your body gets the message to store fat, especially around your abdomen. Insulin is basically your body's store fat signal. So when it's constantly high, your body never gets permission to burn fat. It just keeps storing it. And that deep belly fat doesn't just sit there. It presses against your internal organs, your heart, your liver, your pancreas. And over time, that pressure and inflammation sets the stage for things like fatty liver, heart disease, and cancer. Visceral fat also increases your estrogen levels, especially if you drink alcohol or you eat a lot of carbs, like white bread or pasta. This fuels hormone-sensitive cancers like breast cancer. And I know that if you're a cancer survivor and you've gone through treatment, you want to do everything you can to keep it from coming back. And the best way to do that is to keep your inflammation and insulin levels low and strengthen your immune system, which is your body's main defense against cancer. All 3 of these things will help to create an environment in your body where cancer cells do not want to live. But visceral fat goes against each one of these things. It keeps your metabolism chaotic, your inflammation levels high, and your immune system weak. But when you get rid of it, even just a little, things really start to shift. You'll likely even notice you have more energy, less cravings, and even better sleep at night almost immediately. So now that you're hopefully convinced, let's get into the 5-step plan to get rid of this dangerous visceral fat for good. First and foremost, step number 1, move around after you eat. This one is simple yet incredibly effective. When you eat, your blood sugar goes up. And if it spikes too high, like after you eat too much pizza or a big plate of pancakes, your pancreas has to pump out a bunch of insulin to pull the sugar out of your blood and into your cells so they can use it for energy. But when you go for a walk right after eating a meal, even just 10 to 15 minutes, your leg muscles help to soak up that sugar from your blood so your pancreas pumps out less insulin. It can actually cut it in half. And the less insulin you have, the better your body can burn fat, especially visceral fat. Make this a daily habit, especially after your largest meal. And if you can, make it a goal to hit, say, 10,000 steps a day, but focus on those post-meal walks. Or if it's cold out, do some yoga or even clean the house. It works wonders and you won't feel like crashing on the couch after dinner. Okay, step number 2 to get rid of visceral fat, ditch the sugar and refined carbs. At least for the next 2 weeks, but honestly, the more you can keep them out of your diet, the better. We're just not meant to eat dessert every day. Once in a while, sure. But when things like cake, pastry, cookies becomes part of your daily or weekly meal plan, that's when the real damage starts. And when I say refined carbs, I mean anything made with white flour, even the pizza or hamburger buns or waffles you eat. Refined carbs also flood your system with glucose, again forcing your body to pump out more insulin to deal with it. And remember, when insulin levels are high, fat burning shuts completely off. So for the next 2 weeks, you're going to aim to keep your total daily carbs under 50 grams a day. Or if your insulin levels are really high, maybe you've been told you're pre-diabetic, cut back on those carbs even more. You need to give your body a break from those constant insulin spikes. And that's all it takes to flip your metabolism from sugar burning to fat burning. When your insulin finally drops, it's like flipping a switch. Your body finally gets the green light to start burning stored fat especially visceral fat, for fuel. But here's where a lot of people go wrong. They continue to eat healthy foods that can still spike their insulin. Things like smoothie bowls, oatmeal, or fruit juices. They sound healthy, but your body reads them like dessert. Instead, you're going to focus on protein, healthy fats, and low-carb vegetables. And eat whole foods, like chicken is chicken, zucchini is zucchini, so you know they don't contain any sneaky hidden sugars or refined carbs. Think scrambled eggs in olive oil with some mushrooms, wild salmon with some roasted broccoli, or some grass-fed steak with mashed cauliflower instead of potatoes. That is how to retrain your metabolism to burn fat rather than store it. Okay, step number 3 is actually the most effective one for getting rid of visceral fat: intermittent fasting. Fasting is by far the most effective and quickest way to give your metabolism a break. When you're not eating, your insulin levels drop, and so does inflammation. And I'm not saying you have to go days without food here. A lot of people do really well on the 18-6 method. It's where you're fasting for 18 hours a day and you have a 6-hour eating window, say between noon and 6 p.m. During that eating window, you're going to have 2 to 3 solid meals of protein, healthy fats, and non-starchy vegetables. And if you're thinking, wow, that sounds awful, just think of it as an experiment. It's only 2 weeks out of your entire life. And when you start eating this way, you'll honestly feel a difference within days. It's truly eye-opening. You'll have more energy, clearer focus, better digestion, and that giant plate of pasta won't seem nearly as tempting anymore. Because now you know exactly how it'll make you feel afterwards and what it'll do inside your body. Now, if you're going through cancer treatment, or if you're underweight, or taking certain medications, fasting for 18 hours a day may not be safe for you. So maybe start smaller with 12 to 14 hour fasts, and then build your way up from there, gradually extending your fast once you know your body can handle it. Now, the way you break your fast is very important. Skip the carbs because your blood sugar and insulin levels are low and you do not want to spike them. So start off with either some broth or protein and then add your veggies in later. Anything like fruit, pastries, or juices will send your blood sugar through the roof and undo all your progress. Done right, intermittent fasting paired with a low-carb diet is one of the most powerful ways to lower inflammation, insulin resistance, and get rid of visceral fat. Alright, time for step 4, and this one's incredibly simple. Stop grazing. Snacking all day long is the best way to keep your insulin levels high. Every snack, even healthy ones, triggers insulin. And most people don't realize how often they're snacking. A handful of almonds here, a spoonful of peanut butter there, some popcorn before bed, it all counts. And again, every time you eat, the insulin tells your body to store these calories rather than burn them. So instead, aim for 2 to 3 real meals a day, no snacks in between. And if those meals contain enough protein, healthy fat, and fiber, they should keep you full for hours. And between those meals, if you can drink a lot of water and stay hydrated, it'll help you say no to those false hunger waves. They're not hunger emergencies, they're actually just habit. This may feel hard at first if your brain is used to constantly snacking all day, but it does get easier after a few days. I promise you'll be amazed at how much calmer and more in control you feel once you stop snacking. Okay, finally, step number 5. You're going to add in a few micro workouts to get your heart rate up. Even just 5 to 7 minutes at a time can make a big difference. These short bursts of movement are perfect if you hate long workouts or you don't have time to go to the gym. You can do them anywhere, while you're watching TV, in between meetings. You go hard for 30 seconds and then you rest for 30 seconds. Do it 5 to 7 times, and that's it. You're done in under 10 minutes. Do this most days if you can, but at least 3 times a week. You could even go for a quick run or do some bicep curls. Whatever you can do to get your heart rate up and blood pumping. But it's those short, intense bursts of movement that really flip on your body's fat-burning switch. They really help to burn through all the stored sugar called glycogen that your body holds onto for emergencies, and help to reverse insulin resistance fast. Now here's the exciting part. If you can keep up with this 5-step plan for the next 2 weeks, by the end of it, you'll have more energy, fewer junk food cravings, better digestion, and even deeper sleep at night. And on the inside, you'll know that your insulin and inflammation levels are lower. You're burning through visceral fat, your immune system is stronger, and your risk of cancer is lower. Getting rid of belly fat doesn't require you to have a ton of willpower, but you do have to change your habits. I go over the best way to do that in this video here, and I'll see you next week.